Good afternoon. It's my great pleasure and honor to participate in this Change Your Mind observance. And what a great theme it is. Change your mind. From the very opening passage of the Dhammapada, you gotta watch your thoughts. They'll become your speech will become your actions become your habits, and your habits become your character, becomes your destiny. Right understanding, right thought, right thinking, awareness, attitudes, all from our mind, create the reality we live in. Well, I'm reminded of when I was studying in Japan on Taiji Temple under Uchiyama Kosho Roshi. And one day after meditation, he gave a little talk, and he shared his favorite saying in Japanese, Atama ga tebanashi. Atama is head, te is hand, and banashi means to let go. So Atama ga tebanashi is a play on words, and it means let go. Don't grab onto things with your head. And to illustrate this, he would take a facial tissue and hold it next to his head and say, Atama ga tebanashi. And the tissue would float down. And he had a sense of humor. He said, most teachers, they become famous for a particular saying. Atama ga tebanashi. Don't you think that's a good one? And he laughed. To illustrate also the rigid nature of mind, the attaching mind, the stubborn mind that causes so much suffering, there's a story in Japan where a man came to visit a teacher, and the man poured out his problems, but it seemed like the teacher wasn't listening. So the man said, gee, you seem distracted. And the teacher said, well, I couldn't help but notice there's a horsefly trying to get out of the room, and he keeps hitting the shoji window screen. Bam, bam, bam. But, in a Japanese home, it's very airy. And the windows are open, the doors are open, the garden's right there. The fly can easily attain freedom. But bam, bam, bam. Who put this in front of me? Why is this happening to me? Woe is me. Hey. And the teacher said, it occurred to me that this is how we humans are. We have our whole life right here. Everything's open, but bam, bam, bam. And the man received a tremendous teaching. The right words at the right time. And it changed his life. So this man decided he wanted to share this experience he had. So he devoted his life to traveling around to all the cities in Japan, renting an auditorium and giving a lecture about his experience. Now, as it happened, one day he was in a particular city where he had a businessman friend, and this businessman wanted to say, oh, so-and-so's in town, but I'm too busy. I can't go meet him. So he gave a little gift to his secretary and said, could you give this gift to him and go and, after his talk, give him my regards and so forth. Now, as it happened, this secretary, she had her own problems, very deeply depressed. Life just got her down so much, in fact, that she was going to kill herself. She had decided that she was going to do it on that day. She said, well, my boss asked me to run this errand, so I'll do that, and then I'm going to go home and commit suicide. So she went to hear the lecture, but when she heard this man talk about this experience of how our attitude, stubbornness causes our suffering, she received the great teaching, and it changed her life. And so, after the lecture, she went up to the man and, of course, gave him the gift that her boss had asked her to, but she also shared the impact of this experience on her, and she was crying, and she said, Namam Dabs, Namam Dabs. Thank you, Amida Buddha. Maybe she was a Shin Buddhist, but there's a little sectarian humor here because the man, you see in Japanese, horsefly is pronounced Abuda. And Abuda sounds very similar to Amida, so a little play on words there. And instead of, so the man said, no, you shouldn't thank Amida Buddha. Thank the horsefly Buddha. Well, this attitude of mind is a very subtle thing. The way we treat it and the power we give it, the way we think about the mind. Let me close with one of the most classic stories in the Buddhist literature about Bodhidharma, who brought Zen from India to China. And as the story goes, he sat in the cave, Shaolin Temple, 9 years facing the wall. Okay. Now, a monk came, let me be your disciple. But of course, Bodhidharma didn't pay any attention to this monk, because it was the custom in those days to make it hard for the beginning monks to test their sincerity. So this monk sat in front of the entrance to the cave, imploring Bodhidharma to accept him as a disciple. 4 days and 4 nights, wintertime, snow. Bodhidharma doesn't even look at him. So, as the legend goes, and here's literary exaggeration to make the point, but don't get distracted by it, the man took a sword, cut his arm off, and the monk says, hey, I'm serious, I'm sincere. So at that, Bodhidharma turns his head, looks at the monk, and says, well, what can I do for you? And the monk says, oh, my mind is so troubled. Please pacify my mind. And Bodhidharma says, well, let me see it. Show me this troubled mind. And the monk said, kind of perplexed, said, well, I can't exactly show it to you. And then Bodhidharma said, there, it's pacified. Well, thank you very much for allowing me to participate in this Change Your Mind observance. Thank you very much.